The UK should ignore the 2016 Brexit referendum result as the vote itself was illegitimate, famous evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins suggested in a recent interview. After 3.5 years of political wrangling, Britain left the European Union on January 31. The country is now able to make its own decisions and have laws made by people who are directly elected in Westminster. The journey there was not an easy one, though, as Brexit Day was preceded by a debilitating political period that bitterly divided the nation. Many parliamentarians and politicians tried to ignore the democratic will of the people, until Prime Minister Boris Johnson won a thumping majority at the December 12 general election and secured the Brexit mandate he needed. However, as the country begins its new chapter outside of the European bloc, there appears to still be people who have not come to terms with the result of the referendum. In a recent interview with The Sun's Stephen Edginton, famous evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins suggested the UK. He said, there was an element of xenophobia in the way people voted in June 2016. What I do think about Brexit is that it was wrong to determine the future of our country and of Europe for the long term, for decades or maybe even longer, on the basis of one vote in June 2016. People change their minds. If you look at the opinion polls, they fluctuate up and down all the time. We usually consider the vote of one day in general elections, but we know that they are at most 5 years. Then we have another go. We can change our minds again. Hitting out at former Prime Minister David Cameron for calling the referendum in the first place, Mr. Dawkins added, that was an incredibly irresponsible decision. I am not talking whether Brexit is right or not, but the decision to allow the referendum on one day to be decided by the electorate rather than a representative democracy, and by that I mean Parliament, was an irresponsible decision. He took it because he thought he would win. When asked whether then the 1975 referendum on EEC membership was also illegitimate, Mr. Dawkins said, I can't remember enough. I don't know that enough at all to answer the question. We have a parliamentary democracy and every 5 years we choose our parliamentary representatives who are paid to spend a lot of time discussing, studying bills and the details. I am not equipped